My God, I hate drugs.
Meantime, President Duterte voices interest in the status of the recount. In a speech in Malacanang on Monday, he asked about the latest tally. He did not elaborate. The president is a known ally of the Marcoses. He expressed support for the burial of late strongman Ferdinand Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani. Meanwhile, Robredo and Mr. Duterte have not seen eye to eye on some social issues. She resigned from the Duterte cabinet in December 2016. Newsroom on CNN Philippines tonight. The House of Representatives greenlights two major legislation, the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law on final reading, and the National ID System ratified. President Duterte keeps his confidence on the Solicitor General in the wake of conflict of interest issues involving Jose Calida's family business. And the fuel price spikes takes its toll on the transport sector. Are fare hikes inevitable? Good evening, I'm Cherry Mercado. Our top story tonight takes us to the House of Representatives, where lawmakers approved on third and final reading the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. But House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez admits in an earlier interview he doubts whether it could withstand a constitutional challenge. Our Joyce Ilas reports.
227 lawmakers voted in favor of House Bill 6475, or the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. 11 were against, 2 abstained. House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez admits he is concerned about the bill's constitutionality. The proposed law will abolish the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM, and establish a new Bangsamoro political entity and its basic structure of government. Some critics say the BBL cannot abolish and supplant the ARMM, which is the recognized entity under the Constitution. They believe abolishing the ARMM would require charter change. Alvarez is towing this line, but he says the matter is up to the High Court if someone will challenge the BBL's constitutionality.
As a lawyer, I share that doubt. Talaga namang nasa Constitution yung ARMM eh. Kaya mo Supreme Court ang mag-decide dyan. Diba? Hindi kami yung magsasabi kung constitutional yan o hindi. Basta kami, merong proposal, ito, BBL as a substitute doon sa ARMM law. So, gagawin namin. No? Now, anybody can question yung constitutionality nung gagawin namin. Again, Supreme Court pa rin ang magdi-decide kung inconsistent with the Constitution.
Meanwhile, the BBL's proponents accept some amendments of the bill's critics. Among these, the controversial opt-in provision. Zamboanga City Representative Celso Lobregat says there will only be one plebiscite right after the BBL's passage. On the other hand, the Bangsamoro Transition Commission had proposed a plebiscite once every 5 years for the next 25 years, in case more areas want to be part of the Bangsamoro region. Also, the opt-in provision will apply only to all land-contiguous areas, where at least 10% of registered voters petitioned to be included before the plebiscite on the proposed law. Lawmakers had feared that this opt-in provision might result in an insidious expansion of the autonomous region on Bangsamoro. Lobregat says proponents also agreed there will only be one police force. While there will be a Bangsamoro police, they will be under the Philippine National Police. He adds the military will no longer have to coordinate its movement and protocols with the Bangsamoro region.
I am substantially satisfied. Not fully, but substantially.
That's very good enough.
I think none of us are opposing. We are opposed to certain provisions that are seemingly unconstitutional or disadvantageous, but many of these have been already addressed. Not all, but substantial.
A plebiscite will be held not earlier than 90 days or later than 120 days after the effectivity of the law. Joyce Ilas, CNN Philippines.
The country is a step closer to getting a national ID system. Lawmakers have ratified the bicameral conference committee report on the national ID system bill. The bill now awaits President Duterte's signature. Under the proposed system, Filipino citizens would only need a single ID for government transactions. First in line to receive the ID are senior citizens and persons with disabilities. Tomorrow, newsmakers go on the record with our chief correspondent, Pia Ontiveros. Catch the discussion on the national ID system at 7 p.m. only here on CNN Philippines. President Rodrigo Duterte comes to the defense of the government's top lawyer, Solicitor General Jose Calida. Calida is facing criticism over his family-owned security firm bagging government deals worth 150 million pesos. But while defending Calida, the president fired yet another official. All these after witnessing the destruction of smuggled luxury vehicles. Our senior correspondent Ina Andolong reports.
Latest batch of smuggled goods destroyed here at the Bureau of Customs. We're used to seeing smuggled vehicles destroyed here, but this time most of the smuggled items ran over by a bulldozer is currently still happening are mostly smuggled luxury vehicles. 116 of them to be exact, along with 6 vehicles. The brands of these motorcycles, 100 or more than 100 are Vespas, 2 Harley-Davidson, 2 BMWs, and 1 Triumph. The cost of these destroyed motorcycles and vehicles, 34.7 million pesos. President Duterte witnessed the destruction of the smuggled items, and his message was clear. He won't tolerate smuggling and any form of corruption. The president, in fact, fired another official, this time Customs Deputy Commissioner Noel Patrick Sales Prudente, who was appointed in the Bureau of Customs just last February. The president fired Prudente for his foreign travel.
Today, as a starter, personal travel to Singapore, personal travel to Singapore, personal travel to Europe. He is now under investigation by the House. Matagal yung investigation sa House, pati recommendation lang yan. So I will cut short the agony of Congress. I'm firing him today. Noel Patrick Sales Prudente.
The president also talked about another appointee currently making headlines, Solicitor General Jose Calida, who's been criticized for his family's security agency, which allegedly bagged 150 million pesos worth of contracts from different government agencies. The president, amid criticisms of conflict of interest in Calida's case, says he sees no reason to fire him.
Itong si Calida, matagal naman yung security guard niya. Noon pa yan, why should I fire him? He's good. He's also from Davao. But Ilocano yan. Karamihan niya mga Ilocano. He's good. Bakit? Wala na ba tayong katuwiran magdegosyo? Ano nila is na, as long as you do not participate.
President Duterte, addressing himself to corrupt officials, says rather than stealing from government coffers, if these officials need money for matters like hospital expenses and even weddings, no need to get into corruption. Just ask him for money and he will give it. The president says he will continue to pursue cases against corrupt officials, but also adds that if he receives intelligence reports saying that an official is engaged in corrupt acts, he won't hesitate to fire them right away. Ina Andolong, CNN Philippines.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara says he will look into allegations of conflict of interest against Solicitor General Jose Calida, specifically contracts involving the Department of Justice. He made the assurance in his confirmation hearing at the Commission on Appointments. Guevara says he will investigate contracts won by the security agency of Calida's family from the Justice Department. Vigilant Investigative and Security Agency Incorporated reportedly won 12.4 million pesos worth of contracts from the DOJ in 2017.
Ang concern ng DOJ principally is whether yung mga procurement laws, rules, and regulations have been followed. Kasi public bidding yan eh. Everyone is entitled to bid. For now, the presumption is regular on its face. Regular not necessarily valid kasi hindi naman namin tinitingnan yung question of validity. As to the contract itself, wala namang sinasabi na invalid. Ha? Bakit invalid? Meron bang batas na nilabag? Procurement law? Nobody has come up with such an allegation.
CNN Philippines is going straight to the source of the story. Solicitor General Jose Calida answers the accusations against him tomorrow. Catch his full interview with our senior anchor and correspondent Pinky Webb live at 9 in the morning. President Rodrigo Duterte says he will declare Boracay Island as a land reform area. Speaking at a Bureau of Customs event this afternoon, Mr. Duterte said lawmakers who want to keep commercial establishments in the island may opt to just allow it in a small portion of the tourist destination. Here's the president in his own words.
I am declaring land reforms the entire island of Boracay. Mag-usap na lang kami sa Congress. The entire island will be declared as a land reform area. Para sagarin na natin. Give it to the people. I would just suggest that if you really want to maintain the commercial quality of that place, maybe you can cut a strip. And inland, baka bigyan mo siguro ng easement na about 30 meters, but that's it. Total, ang interesado dyan, yung beach lang man.
Special Assistant to the President Bongo said the order formally declaring the island as a land reform area will come soon. Finance Secretary Sonny Dominguez, however, clarifies only some areas of Boracay will be declared as land reform areas.
Some, not all, because you know, like in any community in the Philippines, some areas are forest land, some areas are alienable and disposable, some are not. Okay? So we have to go title by title or area by area and see exactly what those are.
Dominguez says investors in the island should not worry about seeing their businesses shut down if they were able to secure necessary and valid permits for their shops. He says officials will have to check on businesses title by title in determining which ones can legally continue to operate. Former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno formally asks the Supreme Court to reconsider its ruling to unseat her. Sereno's legal counsel, Justin Mendoza, filed a motion for reconsideration for the Supreme Court to reverse its May 11 ruling on the quo warranto petition filed against her by Solicitor General Jose Calida. A quo warranto petition is a legal proceeding where a person's right to hold office is challenged. Sereno's camp earlier expressed their plan to file the appeal, saying the 8-6 vote of the Supreme Court justices gave them hope the motion for reconsideration would prosper. But for the High Court to reverse its ruling, 2 justices who earlier granted the quo warranto have to upend their vote. Here now are some of the top stories from around the world. A top North Korean official is set to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo this week. Kim Yong-chol is the North Korean vice chairman of the Central Committee. According to the State Department, he will be the most senior North Korean official to visit the U.S. since the year 2000. The planned meeting between Kim Jong-un and Trump nearly fell apart last week when Trump said he was calling it off. But Mr. Trump has since revived hopes it will push through after receiving a conciliatory statement from North Korea.